Hi, welcome to the Joyful House and welcome to Craft Table Talks. My name is Cynthia with Cynthia's Joyful Creations, and I'm glad you're here. Week after week, we are going to learn and explore new things in the craft of crocheting and knitting. I encourage you to ask questions or suggest topics that you would like to discuss or research further. Our time here around the craft table, it is for everyone, beginners and seasoned crafters. I am dedicating this time around the craft table to my sister Missy, who let me know that she was interested in learning how to crochet and knit. So I thank her for inspiring me to share what I can and bring some yarny inspiration and joy to you and all those who want to learn and refresh. So if you're ready, come join me for today's Craft Table Talks. Welcome to the Joyful House and Craft Table Talks number 2. My name is Cynthia, and before we get started with today's Craft Table Talks, I just want to share my shirt with you. It says, "A woman cannot survive on books alone. She also needs yarn. Lots of yarn." All right. Today, our educational and instructional topic will be, what do I need to know about crochet hooks? Hopefully, you will find this informative and have a better understanding of not only crochet hooks, but maybe what crochet hook will be best for you. Before we jump into today's topic, I would like to take a moment just to go over today's outline and share with you the material that we will be discussing. So if you will, join me as we look at today's Craft Table Talks outline. First, we're going to look at our table topic. Second, when crochet hooks were invented. 3, material used to make crochet hooks. 4, top crochet hook brands. 5, Susan Bates versus boy hooks. 6, inline versus tapered hook shaft styles. 7, crochet hook sizes. 8, anatomy of a hook. 9, pencil versus knife hold. 10, hook show and tell. And finally, 11, table chatter. Questions are always welcome, and future topic suggestions are always encouraged. At the close of today, you will be invited to participate in what is called table chatter. If you respond to the table chatter in a comment on this video, you will receive an extra entry on this current month's Tea Party giveaway wheel. Thank you for being here today. May you learn something new or be inspired by today's Craft Table Talks. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and take a look at today's table topic. As you can see, our table topic is, what do I need to know about crochet hooks? Let's jump into the next topic on our outline, which is when crochet hooks were invented. Modern crochet hooks were officially patented in the 1840s and 1850s, with George Chambers and Company receiving early British patents in 1847 and 1848. Before this, rudimentary tools, often termed shepherd hooks or made from bent wire, emerged in Europe and Ireland during the early 19th century. In 1847, when the first British patents for the hook were issued, it was a cottage industry. Individual families made needles from start to finish, with some families and family-owned companies specializing in certain types of hooks. Family businesses that innovated in crochet hook design and production included George Chambers and Company, Albemarle, and William Hall and Company. Over the next 50 years, some of these family-owned businesses would close when the owner died. For example, George Chambers and Company. Yet others, like Albemarle's, expanded by hiring employees and absorbing smaller companies. By the 1900s, these companies in the needle making industry had transformed into businesses with corporate structures. As crochet grew in popularity and technology flourished, stitchers enjoyed a renaissance in the production of hooks. Crocheters in the upper class could take their pick of beautiful hooks that were hand carved from wood, bone, ivory, even made from mother of pearl, tortoiseshell, abalone, horn, agate, sterling silver, and sometimes even inlaid with gemstones. Let's talk about the historical development of crochet hooks. First, in the 1840s and 1850s, the first patent hooks often featured bone or wood handles with metal hooks. These were commonly used for fine lace work. Then in the 1860s, there was a mass production of steel that enabled more durable and uniform hook production. Then in 1917, a company called Boy Needle Company produced the first complete line of American-made steel hooks. These were the smaller sizes designed for thread work, from size 1 down to size 16. We'll talk about crochet hook sizes more in just a moment, but just for your information right now, the larger the hook size, the actual smaller the hook was. As you can see on the screen, there is a picture of those boy hooks that were made in 1917 as a set. In the 1920s and 1930s, interchangeable hooks with a single handle became very popular in 1923, while plastic hooks were introduced in 1935. In the 1940s, during World War II, the Hodo black process, I've got it there on the screen for you, was used by Boy to manufacture black crochet hooks. However, only a month later, World War II forced the government to order the halting of aluminum and nickel plating for hooks in 1942, and it was not reinstated again until 1945. As an alternative, Boy used the zinc plating to prevent corrosion and continued this for the duration of the war. The bright-colored aluminum crochet hooks that are still used today were introduced in January 1949 and were originally available in 4 colors. They were dark purple red, starlight blue, aqua, and silver. In 1949, the now common colorful anodized aluminum hooks were introduced, and you can see a picture of those on the screen right now. We mentioned this last week. The French term for crochet is small hook. So that is where the term crochet came from. It's based off of the hook, the tool that is used. So now we want to talk about what are the 4 types of crochet hooks. And this is where we talk about the materials that are used to make crochet hooks. You have wooden hooks that are made of wood, such as bamboo or a composite of dyed wood. Now, there is a disadvantage to bamboo hooks, and that is the durability issue. One of the main challenges with bamboo hooks is its vulnerability to pests, particularly termites and borers, and its susceptibility to decay. Bamboo can degrade over time without proper treatment, reducing the structure's lifespan. The second type of crochet hook is plastic. Plastic crochet hooks are often made in brightly colored plastic. Then there is ergonomic crochet hooks. These are usually created for those who have trouble with their hands, soreness, tightness, or even, my mind just went blank. Arthritis. And then you have your steel hooks that are made out of aluminum or metal. Now let's move on to topic number 4 and talk about our top crochet hook brands. First, we want to talk about the Clover Amour crochet hooks. These Amour crochet hooks are incredibly soft and allow the yarn to slide without any effort. Amour handles are in vibrant colors to easily identify sizes, and the handle is made of a elastoma rubber, making it comfortable and stress-free for crocheting. And as you can see, there is a picture of them on the screen for you. They are ergonomic, comfortable handles. They're very smooth, and they're often praised for their aesthetics and feel. They are premium Japanese ergonomic crochet hooks that feature a matte red, and I have a picture of those on the screen for you now. They are non-reflective finish design to reduce eye strain and improve visibility, especially with dark yarns, known for their smooth, tapered aluminum tips and comfortable cushion grips. They reduce hand fatigue during long, intricate projects, and they are commonly used for amigurumi and garment making. The key features and details of these hooks is their matte red coating that prevents light reflection, making it easier to see stitches. It is comfortable, featuring a soft grip, ergonomic handle designed for both pencil and knife grips. The performance is that the aluminum hooks are exceptionally smooth, allowing for effortless, snag-free gliding through various yarn types. And they are available in individual sizes ranging from 1.8 millimeter all the way up to 6.5 millimeter. And we're going to talk about hook sizes a little bit more in just a moment. The second brand is Furls. You have your Odyssey and your Streamline hooks. Now, before I go any further, Odyssey hooks have been discontinued and are no longer available, but I will show you later in the show and tell what those Odyssey hooks look like. They are one of my favorite hooks to use. But let's talk about the Odysseys and the Streamline. There's a picture of them both on the screen right now. The one on the top is a Odyssey and the one on the bottom is a Streamline. They are beautiful, well-balanced, smooth metal premium fill, though they can, to some, appear to be very expensive. What is the difference between the Furls Odyssey and Streamline? The Furls Odyssey handle is also forward-weighted, meaning that there is weight inside the front of the handle for better momentum, while the Streamline is lightweight and balanced. The third brand that we're going to look at is the Addy hooks, and you can see a picture of those on the screen right now. They have a comfortable grip that is excellent for amigurumi due to its pointer head and long neck. Swing offers ergonomic designs. It also reduces hand strain during long crochet sessions, and they feature color-coded handles and smooth aluminum tips. They are versatile, suitable for left and right-handed users, and they are available in sizes 2.0 millimeter to an 8.0 millimeter, with options for longer shafts and smaller sizes. The key features of the Addy Comfortable Grip hooks is their ergonomic design. They're specifically designed to fit the natural curved shape of your hand, minimizing strain on wrist and shoulders. Their color-coded handles. Each hook size has its own color-coded, allowing for quick, easy identification. It is a high-quality aluminum tip for smooth, snag-free crocheting with a two-part handle that is firm and soft plastic for a secure, comfortable grip. They are available for both right and left-handed users, with sizes ranging from 2.0 millimeter to an 8.0 millimeter. These hooks are ideal for those who find standard, bulky, or thick rubber-handed handles uncomfortable, and their shape encourages a more relaxed or looser grip, which may require an adjustment if you are used to a tighter or more traditional grip. The hooks are designed to be held with the thumb in the indented area, often requiring the crocheter to shift their hand slightly further down the handle for optimal comfort. The fifth and final top brand that we're going to discuss is the Nitpick hooks. They are tapered and designed to prevent yarn from splitting. These hooks, most popular Nitpick hook is what is known as a fan favorite, and it is called the dot hooks. So I've got a picture of that on the screen for you, as well as a picture of another very popular Nitpicks set of hooks. All right, now we're going to move on to topic number 5, and it is Susan Bates versus boy hooks. Now, currently, you are seeing pictures of Susan Bates crochet hooks. Susan Bates and Boy is another very popular brand, and people love these hooks. Usually, they enjoy one or the other. And a lot of it has to do with the structure of the hook shaft. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But as you're looking at the Susan Bates hooks here on the screen, these hooks are famous for their inline design. This is where the shaft and the hook are aligned in a straight line. This design ensures a smoother and more consistent stitch, which many crocheters find helpful for precise control. If you're looking for accuracy in your stitches, especially in tight or intricate patterns like amigurumis, then the Susan Bates inline hook might be the ideal choice for you. Another thing that sets Susan Bates apart is their ergonomic cushion grip. While this feature may vary across different models, many Susan Bates hooks offer a soft, padded handle that helps reduce fatigue. This can make a big difference if you're working on larger projects like blankets or sweaters, or when you're crocheting for extended periods. Now, the hooks you're seeing on the screen, they are showing the original Susan Bates hooks, which were all the aluminum hooks. And then you're also seeing them where they are currently modernized today with a wooden handle. Now let's take a look and talk about the boy hooks. I've got 3 pictures of boy hooks on the screen there. In contrast, boy hooks are known for their tapered design. The hook and shaft are not perfectly aligned, which means the hook is a bit more pronounced compared to the inline of the Susan Bates. This design allows the yarn to slip off the hook easily, which many crocheters find beneficial to speed up the process of their work. Boy hooks are also typically lighter in weight compared to Susan Bates, which can be a big advantage for crocheters who prefer a hook that feels less bulky and more nimble. If you're someone who likes to work quickly and prefers a smooth glide with your yarn, then the boy tapered hook will be the right option for you. So, which one of these hooks is better for beginners? Well, if you're new to crocheting, it's important to choose a hook that feels comfortable in your hands and suits your style. Both the Susan Bates and the boy hooks have their strengths, so it's helpful to consider your preferences. The Susan Bates hooks are great for beginners who want more control over their stitches. The inline design gives you the ability to keep your stitches consistent, which can be a great advantage when you're just learning the ropes. Boy hooks, with their smoother taper and the light feel, might be ideal for beginners who want to focus on building speed and comfort. While it's easier to get yarn to slide off the hook, it might take a little bit more time to perfect that control. Ultimately, it's about what feels right to you. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation, so you have to feel free to test both types and see which one feels more comfortable for you. Now, the durability of the material and what is the difference? Both Susan Bates and Boy crochet hooks are made from durable materials, but there are some slight differences. The Susan Bates crochet hooks are made from aluminum or steel, making them both lightweight and strong. The smooth aluminum finish ensures that yarn slides effortlessly without snagging. So if you're using a variety of yarn types, the material consistency of a Susan Bates hook can be an advantage. Boy hooks are also made from aluminum or plastic depending on the model. The aluminum models are similarly lightweight, while the plastic models offer a variety of colors. These can appeal to crafters who enjoy a more colorful and visually appealing hook. Though the plastic hooks may not have the same durability as the aluminum in the long term. Both brands, though, offer long-lasting hooks that can withstand the wear and tear of frequent use. It mainly comes down to whether you prefer the strength of steel and aluminum or the lighter weight and the aesthetic appeal of the plastic. When it comes to comfort, both Susan Bates and Boys have thought about the ease of use, but there are also a few key differences. The Susan Bates hooks are often designed with an ergonomic grip. This feature helps reduce hand fatigue during long crocheting sessions. The soft grip on many of their hooks ensure that you can crochet for hours without feeling discomfort. The Boy hooks tend to have a slightly simpler grip made from smooth plastic or aluminum depending on the model. While this is perfectly fine for many crocheters, it may not be as comfortable for those who crochet for extended periods. However, the lighter weight of the Boy hooks makes it easier for some people to hold. Now, at our show and tell, I am going to show you some Boy hooks that I have that actually have a rubber grip to them. All right. I've got a picture here on the screen for you, and it's just kind of showing the contrast again of the different brands of hook. But comfort, when it comes to a hook, it is a big factor. It is a huge factor. Susan Bates might have the edge, particularly for those with hand fatigue, but for shorter crochet sessions, or if you prefer a lighter touch, Boy could be more suitable. So now we're going to talk about topic number 6. Inline versus tapered hook shaft styles. I've got a picture on the screen for you showing the difference between inline and tapered. This design refers to the head shape of your hook. On an inline hook, the neck just below the hook is the same diameter as the shaft of the hook. The neck below the hook of a tapered style is narrower, and it rests on the shaft. Inline hooks have more of a pointed head that is in line with the shaft. And I do have an example that I'm going to show you right now. And it is in a set of wooden hooks that I have, but I've picked out the biggest one so you can see it. And you can see it is an inline, so it's not the same as the body or the head of the hook, and it goes kind of deep. So it cuts in very deep. Now, if I put that aside, let me show you a large taper hook. And this would be it here. You can see that what they call the bowl is very shallow, and the top of the head is rounded. We're also on a tapered, on an inline. This is a tapered. On the inline, it's more pointed. And so here's the difference. So you can see this is more rounded and this is more pointed. You can see this is slanted at an incline, and it's got a deeper bowl there. And then this one is a shorter shaft or shorter bowl, and it's more rounded. All right. Inline hooks have a more pointed head than that of the tapered, which is rounded. The bowl of an inline hook is much deeper than that of its tapered counterpart, and tapered hooks have more of a rounded head that extends past the shaft with a bowl that is more shallow than that of the inline hook. That's what we pretty much just said. You may find that one style is easier to use than the other, or you may not even recognize a difference at all. Really, it just comes down to a basis of what your personal preference is. Do expensive crochet hooks make a difference? Yes. Expensive crochet hooks can make a significant difference in comfort, speed, and yarn glide due to smoother metal, better ergonomic handles, but it's a personal preference. Some crocheters thrive with the budget hooks, while others find premium ones essential for hand pain or faster work, making it worth trying one to see if it suits you. Pardon me. Does using a bigger crochet hook make the project bigger? I have a picture on the screen here for you. Using a larger hook size than suggested will give you a looser, more open stitch, as well as making your finished crochet piece larger. Using a smaller hook size will give you a tighter, denser stitch, and your finished piece will end up being smaller. Is it better to go up or down in a crochet hook size? The stated hook size on a yarn is merely a recommendation. A pattern and suggestion of what hook to use is like a recipe in a cookbook. You have to decide how you want those stitches. If you want them really loose, then you might use a hook that's slightly bigger, because the hook that's recommended is recommended for a normal size of that stitch. If you want it to be a much tighter stitch, then you're going to want to go down in your hook size. And we're going to talk about hook sizes in just a moment. You can size up or down depending on the look you want. If you want closed, tight stitches, like for a pillow or an amigurumi or a basket, then you should size down. But if you want looser, more flowy stitches, then you should size up. Now let's talk about the key hook size rules. The size of a crochet hook refers to the diameter of the shaft. That means the circumference here of the shaft. This is a shaft, and we are going to go over the anatomy of a hook in our next topic. But right here, this is the diameter of the shaft, and this determines the size. This is the cylinder part. And it determines the size of your stitches, the tightness of your fabric, known as gauge. We'll talk about gauge on another day, and how well it matches the yarn weight. Sizes are measured in millimeters, metric, or labeled with US letters and numbers. We're going to break that down in just a moment. All right, there are three main categories, and this is where we're going to break it down. You've got either US, imperial, or metric sizes. Which one do you use? The US will give a number as well as an alphabetical reference, such as a C, for their sizes. The imperial, which is the United Kingdom, they will give a numerical reference, such as, say, 11, while the size in metric will be given in millimeters. For example, like a 3 millimeter or a 5 millimeter, or this is a 10 millimeter hook. So which stone do you use? Well, first off, let me just say this. Unfortunately, there's not necessarily always a one-size-fits-all, because hooks that are made from different manufacturers, that are made from different continents, or different periods of time, they use different methods for sizing. But the most accurate, I've been told, is the millimeter, the metric, as it directly corresponds to the thickness of the shaft where the stitch is actually formed. So the shaft is where you're actually creating the stitches, okay? The hook is guiding you into the stitch, but the size of the shaft is the size of your stitch. A larger millimeter number means a thicker hook. So for example, this is a 10 millimeter hook. okay, it's going to result in a larger, looser, and drape-heavy stitch. A smaller hook, and I'm not even going to go so small. Here's this one. This is a 7mm. You can definitely see the difference. But when you're using a smaller number, this produces a tighter, denser fabric. So thicker yarn requires a larger hook, while thinner yarn requires a smaller hook. US hooks often use letters. For example, an H8, as you see on the screen, equals a 5mm hook. The UK or Canadian hooks, they use numbers. And there, a smaller number means a larger hook, which is contrary to US logic. So it's very important when you sit down and decide to make something that you determine whether you're going to use a UK size hook or a US. And in a minute, I will provide you with a conversion chart that will show you the size of the UK hook and the equivalent of it in a US and a millimeter. All right. Using the wrong hook size will change your gauge. That is the tension of your stitches. And again, we're going to talk about that more on another day. And it will potentially make a garment too small or too large. Same thing with a blanket. All right, I am going to put up on the screen here the different crochet hooks and yarn pairing guide for a lace weight yarn, and we're going to talk about all of these yarn types more next week. You would use a 1.5 to a 2.25mm hook. For fingering or sock weight, which is like a 1-weight yarn, you would use a 2.25 to a 3.5mm hook. For a sport weight, which is a 2-weight, you would use a 3.5 to a 4.5mm hook. For a DK or light worsted weight yarn, which is a weight 3, you would use a 4.5 to a 5.5mm. For a worsted Oran acrylic yarn, which is a 4-weight yarn, you would use a 5.5 to a 6.5mm hook. For a bulky 5-weight or chunky yarn, you would use a 6.5 to a 9mm. And for a super bulky, which is a 6-weight, you would use a 9 to 15mm hook. And for a jumbo yarn, which is a weight of 7, a 7-weight, you would use a 15mm or higher. All right. Commonly used hook conversions. Metric, using the millimeter to the US. A 2.25mm hook is known as a B1. A 3.25mm hook is known as a D3. A 3.5mm hook is known as an E4. 3.75mm hook is a F5. 4-point-millimeter is a G6. 5-point-millimeter is an H8. 5.5mm is an I9. 6-point-millimeter is a J10. 6.5mm is a K10. 8-point-millimeter is an L11. And a 10-point-millimeter is an N or P15. All right. And I do have available, if you will reach out, I've got my email address in the information box of this video. If you would like a PDF file of those hook sizes sent to you, I will be happy to email those. All you have to do is email me and request. I do ask that you refer to Craft Table Talks #2 so that I can easily go back and refer to my research. Because as we get further down the road, somebody may watch this video a year from now and request that PDF, and I am not going to remember which live it came from. So if you will, if you do watch this and you do want a copy of that PDF, all you have to do is email me, but let me know that you're looking for the size hook conversion chart from Craft Table Talks episode 2. All right. For beginners, it is recommended that you start with a size H8, which is a 5mm hook, or an I9, which is a 5.5mm hook, as these are the most comfortable sizes to use. Now we're going to look at the anatomy of a hook, and you've got a picture on the screen there. And so let's talk about it. You've got the head. That is the top part that enters the stitch. It can be pointed or rounded depending on if it is a inline, which will be pointed, or a tapered, which will be rounded. You've got the throat and the lip. That's the hook's mouth. It's also referred to as a bowl, B-O-W-L. That's what grabs the yarn, and deep throats hold yarn better while shallow ones are faster. Then you've got the shaft or the shank. This is the middle part that determines the stitch size. And then you've got the handle or the thumb rest. This is the grip area. Ergonomic soft handles are recommended for comfort. All right. Now we're going to talk about the material matter as far as an aluminum hook. They say that aluminum hooks are ideal for beginners because they're durable, they're smooth, they're affordable, and they're lightweight. Bamboo or a wood hook is great for preventing hand fatigue and good for slippery yarns. Plastic is inexpensive, light, and available in large sizes, but can sometimes have rough seams that need filing. So just a real quick look. Here is some small plastic hooks. These happen to be boy hooks. And here are some plastic hooks that are much larger. These are also boy hooks. And we'll take a look at those more in just a moment. Another quick tip, and I'll bring this up more next week when we talk about yarn, but it's always best for a beginner to start with bright yarn because using a lighter colored yarn makes it easier to see your stitches. Black and dark blue especially are not recommended, and your darker colors like a hunter green or even a red can sometimes be difficult. So make sure you start with light colored yarn until you get the hang of it. And in a couple weeks, we're going to put that hook and yarn together and make them dance and start making chains and stitches. All right. If you struggle with hand pain, switch to ergonomic hooks with thicker, soft handles. This would be considered an ergonomic hook, and I've got several others that are as well. And we'll take a look at those at show and tell time. All right. If your stitches are too tight, try a larger hook. If they're too loose, try a smaller one. For your first crochet project, you're going to want to start with something that is flat and rectangular like a dishcloth or a washcloth, as they build muscle memory, and that's where you can just do the stitches without even thinking or really looking at it. And consistency with basic stitches like chains and single crochets and half doubles and double crochets. We're going to jump into all of those in the next few weeks. So just be patient. We're going to get started. Without complex shaping, coasters and bookmarks and simple scarves, those also could be great options because they use some of the same fundamental skills. While granny squares will teach you to work in a round and help you be able to join them to create larger projects. All right, number 9. We're going to look at pencil versus knife hold. The pencil grip or underhand hold, as you see in the picture on the screen, involves holding the crochet hook like a pencil or pen. It's where you pinch it between the thumb and the index finger, with the handle resting on the middle finger. This method relies on finger movement rather than wrist motion, offering a precise control, a reduced wrist fatigue, and it is often preferred for tighter tension. All right. The knife hold is just what it says. You grip the hook like a knife. So for example, if I were to grab a hook, and we're just going to use this larger one, this is your pencil hold, and you're more or less moving the fingers. Now, I'm not a pencil hold person. I can do it, but it's very sloppy. It's uncontrolled for me. It is not comfortable. But a pencil is where you're just literally using it like a pencil, and it's more in these finger movements. So it's just whipping it with the fingers. A knife hold is where you hold it with a knife, and it's more of a wrist action. And that is what I am. I am a knife hold person. And I also wanted to share that when it comes to tapered or inline, I am more of a tapered person. So that would make me more of a boy hook versus a Susan Bates. Well, I typically don't use either one of those brands, but just wanted to share that in case you were interested in what my preferences are. All right. I know we're running really long today, but we had a lot of material to cover for these hooks. I love that this is a video that you can rewind and watch over and over and refresh yourself with all of this hook knowledge. You are going to be a very smart hooker or crocheter, whichever terminology you prefer. But let me take a moment and do a quick show and tell for you. All right, first thing I want to do is introduce the boy hooks that I have. This is a set that I have. They are very, very slightly used hooks. These were the very first hooks that I started with after I graduated from the initial metal hooks. I do not have any more of those solid metal hooks. I think the only one I have is this one that I'm going to show you in a minute. And it is a Susan Bates, but these are boy hooks, and they come with the rubber grip, and it has the size of the hook written on it right there, as you can see. And of course, on the back here, you can, or no, right here on the front, you can see, if it'll come in, that is a boy hook. And hopefully it will focus. And it is not wanting to adapt, but hopefully you can see that these are boy hooks right there. And you can see it's got that flat surface that is good, especially for a pencil grip. But even so, it is still good for a knife holder. So those are considered tapered. Okay, and that is a boy. This is the only Susan Bates hook that I have, and it is very teeny tiny. This is a 14, and it does say Susan Bates right there. It is very tiny, and it has the number 14 on it. As you can tell, it has a very, very tiny head. And the reason I keep this one is for any very tiny, tiny lace work that I might do with thread. So I do have that one Susan Bates. All right, then I have this little set of hooks that I also do not use. These are very heavy. They are not a Boy or a Susan Bates. They're just a cheap little set of hooks, and some of them have the size written in this little rectangle square right there, etched in. And then some of them have it written on it in ink. And again, these are considered a tapered hook. You can see it's got the very shallow head there. These are just a couple hooks that I picked up to share with you back when I used to receive monthly kits from a company called Crochet Society, and every month, every kit came with a hook, and they are made out of polymer clay. You can see right there it says Crochet Society, and this is a 7mm hook. Again, Crochet Society, 5.5mm. Some of these hooks were silver and some of them were rose colored. Again, very pretty polymer clay on the metal shafts. And there's another one. They just have some really pretty designs. I really enjoy these hooks. From time to time, on a whim, I have been known to share them and give them away. But I'm pretty much down to where I have given away all that I'm going to on these, so I do hang on to these. I also have these with the polymer clay on them. These were made by a friend, and she put a butterfly on this one for me and included a butterfly stitch marker. And here is another one. It's got 5.5, and that one also has the size on it, but it's very hard to see it. But this one was a 5mm. And this is a 5.5, and it also has a stitch marker on the edge of it, and these are tapered. And here is another one that she made for me. It is tapered, and it also has a butterfly stitch marker hanging off of it. All right, these are the types of hooks that I started with. They are a metal aluminum hook, and this one here was, let's see which one. This one was made for me from Tina, Camper 14. And I fell in love with this, that I learned how to make them myself. And so this is an H size hook that I made. Now, you can see this one. They're both blue. Okay, I brought this one up a little far. I do like having a longer shaft a little bit on my hooks, but I do still enjoy using this one from time to time. But you can see this is a tapered hook, and you can see that this one is actually an inline hook. See how it kind of goes at a slant, and it has a much bigger bowl opening than the other one. See how this is round here and short and shallow, and this one has that incline and has a larger opening. So then I have this hook. This was given to me by a very dear friend who is no longer with us, and it is a bamboo hook, and I do hang on to it for when I'm doing something with a finer lace yarn or like a silky base yarn. And it is a 6mm hook. And this would be considered a tapered hook. You can see that it has that shallow head. It is round and it is still the same size. The only thing with this is it does not have a very long shaft. So it is very easy for the stitches to come off of this one. All right. These are a wooden set of hooks that Mr. Joyful, my husband Todd, bought me for my birthday a couple years ago. And aren't these gorgeous? That is like a polymer inline in that with the wooden hook, and it's got the size written on the outside there, so you can see this is a 5mm. And as we've already discussed, this is an inline hook. You can see that it goes down at a slant and it has that larger opening and it's got kind of a pointed top on it. And this is just a really beautiful, beautiful set. All right. Now we're going to start moving on to some of my favorite hooks. This is a company called Lether Co. And I don't think they're making more hooks at this moment, but that's not to say that they won't start. So I will include her link to her store in the information box. But these are just regular aluminum hooks. You can see that they are a tapered hook, but they are made with a wooden handle and the aluminum shaft. I do know that I do prefer an aluminum shaft versus a plastic or a wooden, but I have been able to use like some of these, wooden hooks. Some of the smaller ones I do have a little bit of issue with, but if I'm using like a bamboo cotton or something, I do find those to be easier to use. But these are just some of the hooks. There's a bigger one. And again, that's still a tapered hook. And they come in all different colors of wood and sizes. Here's another one. It's a smaller handle size, so not quite the ergonomic, but again, it has a tapered hook there. Yes, but a lot of pretty ones. Pretty. And her husband created all of these wooden handles. So, all kinds of different ones. That is actually 2 of the same hook. Here's another one. Here's one I have used a lot. I've used this one a lot. This was one of their Halloween ones one time. But anyway, so that is some of those hooks. And these were the last 2 that I had that I have not shown you yet. But really pretty hooks. I love those a lot. All right. Then I love the Knit Picks dot hooks. These are the dot hooks. And you saw a picture of them earlier. That is a tapered head there. I keep them in this little pouch bag with my little strawberry stitch marker from IVB Creates. That is another channel on YouTube. But again, these are the dot hooks, and I love these. I love these hooks. These are good for pencil gripping or knife holding. Very good hook. I think on average I've paid $30 to $40 for this set of hooks, but very much worth it. This is not all of them. I have a couple projects going on that have some of them with the project. So this is very much like the dot hooks. These are what I have heard referred to as the Colgate hooks, but they're just a more inexpensive version, and you can get these at Michael's. I got this set at Michael's. You can also get them off of Amazon. But again, these have that tapered head. So, and I love it. They come in all these different colors. But just like the dot hooks, instead they're like a Colgate, you know, hook from the Colgate toothpaste. But so instead of dots, they have those bigger shapes, but they work just like the dot hooks. So, all right. Now we're down to my all-time favorites, the furl hooks. Now, we talked earlier about the Odyssey hooks. I have several here. I actually keep them in this little pouch. Different hooks came in this, but I just transferred all of my Odysseys in here. I do have this little set of smaller hooks on the end here. That's where I actually keep my little Susan Bates hook, that very tiny one that I had shown you earlier. So this is an Odyssey. This is where it has this kind of ergonomic handle on the end, and it's got a heavy weight metal in the front of it to give it that heavier feel, and it has the aluminum shaft. Now, this is the funny thing. Even though I keep telling you I am a tapered person, these Odyssey hooks are an incline. Do you see that? But I love them. I think it's because of the weight in the handle and the ergonomic of them, but I absolutely love using these hooks. Now, this is the Streamline, and I've got one in wood and plastic here in this kit of mine, and this is a wooden hook. It is an H, so that is a 5mm hook. And this one is actually a tapered head on it. And this one is an incline, but this is plastic. Yeah, it's got the slant. So it's inline. But it's actually kind of got a shallow head on it though. But these are Streamline hooks. Also, in the Streamline family, I had to go grab this. I have a giveaway basket for the channel, and I had to grab these out of the giveaway basket because I was giving away a lot of my Streamlines, just saving those two because I don't typically like the plastic Streamline hooks. So this is another one from Furls. And again, that is a tapered head on that. Yep. But that is a Streamline. And I have one more here. And I think this is a bamboo one. It is. And it is a tapered. Even though it has a short head, it's got that incline right there. And this is a 6mm J hook. But these are Streamline hooks. And of course the ones with the metal ends like this is the Odysseys. These are the ones that have been discontinued. And if you try to go on Amazon or Etsy or anything like that to find them, Macari, they are like really, really expensive. So, but the Streamlines, you can still get those from Furls. They usually run about $26 to $28 a hook, but they do have specials all the time. In fact, I have a Furls link that is in the information box below that if you use my Furls link, you can get a discount on your order. But unfortunately, the Odysseys have been discontinued. So I cherish the ones that I have. Now, with that being said, let me introduce you to the Furls metal hooks. And I've got a few of them here. I've got a couple more, but these are just a few that I had handy. And they look like this. Now, there is a difference. These three right here are a very shiny surface. So it does mean that you can leave fingerprints and handprints all over them. But some people have a preference for this, and some prefer the matte finish. And that's where they're not as shiny and they don't leave fingerprints on them. But these are also Furls streamline hooks. But they still have that wide ergonomic shaft on them. Or excuse me, handle. This is the shaft, handle on them. I do have a set that I bought from Temu for about $30, $40. I have seen these on Amazon as well. They're a little bit more expensive. I've seen them as high as $75. Like I said, I got mine somewhere around $30 or $40. You can sometimes find just the hooks for less without the case, but I loved having my case with mine. So, and these are shaped just like the Furls streamlines. So I also love that hook set. All right, the final hooks that I am going to show you is Fire is another hook company that is out and new, and they create a hook very similar to the Streamline, and this one is one that I have in my giveaway box to give away. It is, I think this is the September birthday hook, if I'm remembering correctly. But as you can see on it, it is a 5mm H hook, and this is an inline. It's got that slanted hook shaft there, or bowl head. So that is an Fire hook. It's not quite as wide as the Streamline hooks from Furls. And then these are some novelty hooks that was also given to me by the same lady that gave me this before she passed away. And it's a very lightweight aluminum hook. They have different animals on them. This one is a fox. And honestly, I'm not sure what that one is. But anyway, this is a 4.5mm, and this one is a 5.5. And you can see even in these, they have a different handle length. It's same company, but the shafts are about the same on them. And both of these are tapered hooks. And then the last set of hooks I'm going to show you, and thank you again for allowing us to go long in our craft table talks today, but these are also crochet hooks. And as you can see, they are very long. They still have the hook on the end. There are other crochet hooks, and I've got some. I just could not put my hands on them right away, but they have a hook on both ends. These are considered hooks for what is called Tunisian crochet. We will one day, not anytime soon, we will bring Tunisian crochet into our craft table talks. We'll learn more about Tunisian crochet, and we'll introduce how to do it and learn stitches. That will be something that we will be learning together because I have never done Tunisian crochet. So I'm very excited to learn and try. But when I do, I will not be using these hooks. I will use the ones that have a hook on both ends. But anyway, that will be for another day for sure. All right. really, that is wrapping up our material. And now we're going to move on to table chatter. And I am going to ask you a couple questions. And again, if you answer them in the comments below, then you'll be rewarded with an extra entry on the current Tea Party wheel. That is our craft table talks for today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me and giving me your time. Again, we had a lot of material to cover today. As you can see, there's a lot to consider when purchasing your hooks. And that's why I took this time to cover all of this, because hooks can be an expensive purchase. And whether you're planning to be just an every now and then hobby crocheter, or you're really planning to get into it and make a lot with it, and make the most out of it and try all kinds of new things, it's really good to have this knowledge under your belt before you go hook shopping, so that you can really navigate and find which hook style is going to be best for you. Now, I do recommend that you consider purchasing one single hook of something to try, whether it's the brand or the inline or the tapered version, until you discover which ones you like best. Because like I have done so many times, I've just gone and bought the whole set only to find out that that's not the hook size, or that's not the hook style for me. And so then I end up with these sets of hooks that I'm not using. I don't know if I showed you the plastic hooks. I know we did in the content, but these are some boy plastic hooks that I have. I am hanging on to these. These I can definitely take on an airplane. I know that for at some point in time, you couldn't take metal hooks on an airplane or anywhere that had a security, metal check. So the plastic hooks you could. And again, these are some boy plastic hooks that I have. I have done a project using both of these, and I thought it would be very difficult, and I found that I love them. Even though I'm typically not a larger yarn weight person, I did enjoy the projects that I did make using those with a larger weight of yarn. Well, that definitely wraps up our craft table talks today. We went a long time today. Thank you for your patience. Again, I hope you learned a lot about hooks and it helped you make a better decision on the type of hook that you might need for you and your style of crochet. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any future topic suggestions, I am always open to hear them. We have plenty of content coming to Craft Table Talks, but I also want to stay relevant to what your questions may be, or something that you may want to know how to do right away for a project that you're working on. Okay. Well, next week we're going to talk about yarn and all the different types of yarn and yarn weights. So hope you'll come back. And until next time, be joyful, stay crafty in your own way, make your own joyful creations, and be the joy in everything you do. And I'll see you next week. Bye.